Welcome everybody to Elite Football Scouting. This is our first podcast right now. I'm Ben, and we got Allaith Ghaibah with us. We're gonna be hitting a little mock draft. We're gonna be alternating every pick, 1 through 32. And we're gonna kick it off with the Bengals on the clock. We're gonna keep it simple. We're not gonna play any games here. Bengals are gonna be selecting Joe Burrow. Allaith, take it away with the Redskins.
I could pick another no-brainer here, of course. A dynamic edge rusher, a franchise edge rusher for Mr. Ron Rivera, Chaisson.
Yeah, I think that's a nice start. I think Ron Rivera's gonna like to get a nice. Ron Rivera's defensive guy is gonna like to get a building block on the defense to start his program down there in Washington.
Absolutely.
So the Lions
with the back end first.
Yeah, so the Lions just recently lost Darius Slay in a trade to the Eagles. They did sign Desmond Trufant, but I do not see that being a long-term solution. So for that reason, I'm going to have them drafting Jeffrey Okudah with the third overall pick in the draft. I do think there is a chance for a trade for this at this spot, but in this mock draft, we're not going to be projecting any trades.
Possible.
We got Allaith at number 4 with his favorite team, the Giants. Interesting to see where he goes here.
Giants can go either defensive playmaker here or Isaiah Simmons. They go either offensive tackle or a defensive playmaker and Isaiah Simmons. Me, I think you go for the best player available, and I personally think that is Simmons. So, number 4, Isaiah Simmons.
Yeah, as a Clemson guy, obviously I'm going to think Isaiah Simmons is a great pick, and to watch him for the last couple of years, he truly is a unique playmaker, and I think he'll be a great pro.
I think the new head coach and Judge will know how to use him. I think he'll really focus on maximizing his strengths. Patrick Graham will be able to use that versatility all over his defense.
Definitely a good coach is going to be able to get a lot more out of a guy like Simmons who can be used all over the field. So number 5, it's a clear pick. It's a perfect scenario for the Dolphins, who supposedly been tanking all season in hopes of getting to a Tagovailoa, and because of his injury history, he's gonna slide down to 5. I think Tua is a great prospect. He's a winner, strong arm, great athleticism, and I think out of any prospect in the last 10 years, there hasn't been a guy who throws with touch like he does. But obviously, has the injury concerns, and he's a little bit on the smaller side.
Ben disagrees with me here, but I think certainly they will have to trade up to get to a lot of competition here. I
think it's a possibility. It's a possibility.
3 teams in a row that could be looking for quarterbacks, especially this next team coming up. I'm mocking Justin Herbert. Obviously, they didn't land Tom Brady and are settling with Tyrod, but obviously he is not a solution for the future. He's just a stopgap. So I think they will be selecting a quarterback this year.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Chargers have to go quarterback there. A little interesting pick here with the Panthers. They have a new first-year head coach. Obviously, they're moving on from Cam Newton, who's been their franchise ever since 2010, so almost 10 years. A couple of guys I liked for them were Simmons, Okudah, and Herbert. Those 3 are all gone. So they reach on a guy like Love. I think it's more likely they try and find a building block for the future, draft the best player available. Good building block. I think that's going to be Andrew Thomas.
I like it.
Tackle out of Georgia.
The number 1 tackle, huh?
Yeah, in my opinion.
Like with the next pick, originally I would have liked to have given Kyler Murray a new weapon to throw to in Ceedee Lamb, but obviously they've acquired DeAndre Hopkins, who I think is the best receiver in the league.
For essentially nothing.
Some trade that was. But I'm going to give him who I think is the best tackle in the draft, in Tristian Wirfs.
Okay.
It's a very good athlete. He ran at 4, about 8'5", 320 pounds. And that's special.
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna keep a little tackle run going here. Jaguars are up. Their pass protection wasn't great next year. Seemingly, they're going with Gardner Minshew as their quarterback for the future. I don't know if that's the best idea, but I don't think they're in a great position to be reaching for a quarterback like Love here. So they're going to draft Mekhi Becton, the uh, giant out of Louisville, with the ninth pick in the draft. Browns on the clock.
8'6'7", 380 pounds, something like that.
5'140", pretty impressive.
I backed into the Jaguars. Okay, the
I
Browns
think
are
he
up.
is a project going forward, but
I think the Browns certainly will be in the market for offensive tackle after the arrest with Greg Robinson.
yeah. They did
So
get
continuing the run on tackles.
wow.
Jedrick is more of a right tackle, but we'll see. Hopefully, he can project over there. I think they have who do they have at right tackle right now? The Browns,
Jack Conklin. They just signed him free agency.
of course. But, so hopefully, we'll kick him over. I mean, for the Browns, I would have liked to take Becton or Wirfs even, but Wills it is.
Yeah, quite the run on tackles there. A little surprising, but you never really know how the draft's going to play out.
Jets could tackle also.
What?
The Jets could take a tackle also.
Yeah, but actually, what I think the Jets, what we're going to see there is we're going to see the first of this great wide receiver class drafted. Jets have been lacking playmakers for years now, and Rodney Henderson, probably their best pass catching threat. As a free agent, it doesn't seem like he's going to be re-signing, so I'm going to have them picking Juedy, wide receiver out of Alabama. Some might say CeeDee Lamb's a better prospect. I think Judy's a little bit of a safer pick, and that's why I see with the Jets going with that. That leaves the Raiders on the clock at 12.
Raiders, I think they would have liked Jerry Judy, but I personally think CeeDee Lamb is the best receiver in the class. Just so strong at the point of what is it?
I don't know, attacking the ball.
He's great. Yeah, he makes the tough catches. Yeah, he makes tough catches. He's got strong hands, sure
For
hands.
sure.
I think Gruden would love him. Derrick or Mariota, whoever's throwing the ball over there.
Yeah, that is an interesting situation to play out. Kind of situation, similar situation to Tannehill Mariota last year. You don't really know who's going to be the starter. Two veterans going at it.
It wouldn't surprise me if they were in play to trade up for a quarterback as well.
Yeah. So CeeDee Lamb, your pick there at 12?
Sir.
All right, so I think 49ers are now on the clock. They have this pick from a trade with the Colts. And they traded a D tackle to get this pick, and I think a D tackle falls right into their spot here. A little bit of a fall for Derrick Brown, guy that some people consider a top 5 prospect, falls to 13. I think the 49ers would scoop that up right away.
So
Derrick Brown, 13, excuse me.
Derrick Brown.
So we have an interesting pick here, 14, the first pick of the Brady era for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
See, bro, I think we're gonna give Brady a speedster, Mr. Henry Ruggs, Mr. 427.
Wow, so giving them another target to add on to Chris Godwin and Mike Evans.
Yes, sir. I think he's not a traditional deep route runner. I think Brady won't be throwing the ball down the field too much. He'll be working the intermediate, but Ruggs is a good route runner. I think he'll be all right there.
Surprisingly strong hands, too, for a guy with a smaller frame. That impressed me about him. Broncos on the clock at 15. I would like to give him a wide receiver and offensive lineman to help out Drew Lock as he comes into his second season, his first one as a full-time starter, getting to start week 1. But I just don't really see the value there. And I think the player they might want to draft here is C.J. Henderson, the cornerback out of Florida, after losing Harris in free agency, who was a great corner for them for many years. So I think they're going to be trying to replace a need there, and it's also a good value pick. at 15, I believe.
The Falcons just today acquired Todd Gurley.
Yeah.
The Falcons could go with a cornerback here. They just lost Desmond Trufant, signed with the Lions. But I think they take edge rusher Kayvon Chaisson. He's a bit raw right now, but he's a freak athlete, a good locker room guy, great character. Kayvon Chaisson.
So now we have the Cowboys here at 17. For me with the Cowboys, it feels like they're always chasing after their safety. They've been trying to get Jamal Adams. They tried to get Earl Thomas for a couple seasons, and I think this draft they're gonna address that need with either Grant Delpit, Xavier McKinney. Some people like other prospects more than others. I think I'm gonna go with Xavier McKinney. I think it fits a little bit more what they've been looking for in that safety position. A pretty versatile player. Played for a few years at Alabama. I think he projects pretty well at the next level.
How do you think he projects as a deep half safety?
What?
How do you think he projects in deep half coverage?
I think you can play free safety. I think you can play slot. I think you can play in the box. I really do think he's one of the more as versatile as safety as you can get in this class. He's super aggressive, but he's not huge in frame, and he's still got the speed. So I think he really can do a lot of things.
Okay. So with that being said, the Dolphins are now on the clock at 18. I think they needed offensive tackle, and there's one more I happen to like in the first round, and that's Josh Jones.
Ooh, okay.
Solidifies one of the tackle spots for the Dolphins. Did they sign a tackle this free agency? They got Flowers.
No, yeah. Flowers they signed as a guard. They have Ted Karras, center on a 1-year contract. Jesse Davis is a guy that they have that either is a right guard or a right tackle. It looks like he might be playing right tackle this year. I don't know how solid he is long term. He's more of a prospect than anything. But now we have the Raiders on the clock, and this is a pick they acquired from Chicago in the Khalil Mack trade. So the Raiders, you have already had them drafting CeeDee Lamb. So they addressed some of their wide receiver concerns. I could see them double dipping for a wide receiver because they really do have a huge need there. But I do see a guy here, Javon Kinlaw out of South Carolina, that is falling down the board a little bit, and it's a position of need for the Raiders. They need to work on their pass rush a little bit. They need to work on their interior D line. I think he's a guy that can really help with that.
Yeah,
So
pocket pusher in the
Yeah.
interior. 3 straight teams that have acquired picks from other teams.
Yeah. Yeah, so now the Jaguars who acquired a pick from the Rams.
Right.
I assume the Ramsey trade?
I would have liked Kinlaw for the Jaguars here. But I think it's a tough one. I think I'll give him a corner to replace Ramsey and Christian Fulton, a guy I like a lot. I don't think he was the best cornerback at LSU last year, but very strong.
Wow. So now we have the Eagles on the clock at 21. The Eagles recently let go of Malcolm Jenkins. This is a player that kind of reminds me of him, is Grant Delpit out of LSU. So we have back-to-back LSU D-backs going this draft. I think he's a really good fit. He's a guy who does a lot. He plays strong safety. He can play a little bit of linebacker. He can play in the slot. Gives some versatility to that defense. And I think he's going to be able to replace a lot of what Malcolm Jenkins was able to do on the defense. And he's going to be cheaper and he's going to be younger with a higher upside.
All right, with the Vikings on the clock at 22. And the Vikings obviously just traded Stephon Diggs.
Bills. I think, isn't it the Bills at 22?
King's ransom, yes. First round pick from the Bills, among other mid to late round picks. I think
yeah. Forgot about that. I saw that.
What's that?
I still had that pick as Bills. I forgot that the Vikings acquired that pick.
This one was the Bills. I thought that was okay. Okay, so for the Vikings, I think with the trade of Diggs, I think they do need some talent there. They have Thielen, but he's more of a slot guy. I think they need a guy on the outside. A guy I like a lot. I think he's very underrated. I think you could use him as a slot or outside. Justin Jefferson.
Okay, yeah, versatile player there.
Another LSU. Is that 3 straight LSU?
3 straight LSU.
I think he has it all. I think big question was his speed, but I think he ran a 4.3 at the combine, which is very big for him. I think he's a great route runner. He's got great hands, got great feel for getting open in zones. A player I like a lot, for sure. Definitely a first-round pick.
Definitely has that knock to play wide receiver, and I think he answered a lot of questions, as you said, with that 40 time. So the Patriots are in an interesting spot here. They're making their first pick without Brady since 2000. I think they have to start the post-Brady era. It's honestly not a prospect I love a lot, but it is a prospect that I think they need, and that's Jordan Love, the uber-talented quarterback out of Utah State. He's had some interception problems leading the NCAA in interceptions last year. I think he kind of lacks a feel for the game at this point, but he does. He's loaded with athleticism and arm strength, and you can tell he can really sling it around the football field.
Absolutely. Okay, Jordan Love. The Saints. Saints just signed. Who was it? Wide receiver Emmanuel Sanders.
Yep.
That crosses off a need there for them. You got Mike Thomas and Sanders at the position. I think they do need a linebacker and a cornerback. I don't like the cornerbacks at this point, but a linebacker I like a lot. Kenneth Murray.
Yep.
From Oklahoma. Like solid interior, inside linebacker. Apologies. Very good leader. I think. What was that story they had about him? I can't remember.
I don't know.
Yeah, I will get back to it later, I guess. But Kenneth Murray, linebacker.
That's a good pick. I think he's a little bit of a slept-on prospect. Plays the linebacker position, which I think in today's NFL doesn't get as much attention as it used to, but very good prospect. So the Vikings, I had them addressing the wide receiver when I was thinking about picks. Obviously, they just did that with Justin Jefferson, and they already have Adam Thielen, so I think they have a pretty good group there now. I'm going to go with the defensive end out of Iowa, AJ Epenesa. How do you say it? Epenesa, yeah. I think he's more of a weak side defensive end, very strong player. He's not gonna get you with finesse. He's gonna overpower you with strength. He was a big recruit out of high school, and Vikings lost quite a bit along the D line and free agency this year because of their cap issues. So I think he's gonna be a good addition to Minnesota.
And Dolphins now up their third pick. I think they double dip on the offensive lineman. I think this time they selected more of a center in Cesar Ruiz.
Okay.
He is from Michigan. I think he addresses a big-time need for them there. They need players on that offensive line. Sure.
Yeah, the Dolphins need a lot of players, that's for sure.
I would have liked DeAndre Swift, honestly. You know, I like shiny things, but
yeah.
You know, not the best idea to take a running back in the first round, as we've learned over and over. Ben is obviously.
You know how I feel about picking running backs early. I do like Swift as a prospect.
Barkley.
So this draft has already run through 5 offensive tackles in this first round, and I think it's kind of out of first round talent. But the Seahawks seem to be a team that's need offensive line help for a long time. They've lost Fant in free agency, their left tackle, and so I think they're gonna have to go with a project here. And Prince Tagovailoa, I don't really know if I'm saying his name correctly, but the tackle out of Auburn. He's quite a project, but I really think they need an offensive line to be able to support Russell Wilson because year in and year out, it looks like he's doing everything he can with an offensive line that's not doing a great job.
Absolutely. and he's running around for his life. I mean, see, obviously he's good at it. You got to help him out.
Sure.
That was for let's see for the Let's take a look now. Okay, for the Ravens. Ravens obviously just beefed up their defensive line. 2 new additions.
Oh, true. Yep.
Who were they? Oh, Calais Campbell, of course, trade with the Jaguars. And another
Michael Brockers.
And Michael Brockers from the Rams. I like him a lot too.
Yeah.
Who I think they do need an interior offensive lineman. I don't think there's any more first round talent at this point. So I'm gonna give them a linebacker. Another LSU guy I like a lot, Patrick Queen.
Okay.
Traditional inside linebacker. Rangy. Guy I'm sure John Harbaugh would love. Mark Wintendale. No. Wink Martindale. Is he the offensive coach or defensive?
I know the name, but I honestly couldn't tell you.
The guy I was trying to tell
Oh,
you.
yeah, you talked about him the other day. So at 29 here, we have the Titans. Titans made a push last year based off what Derrick Henry could do in the play action passing game with Ryan Tannehill. I think that was all set up with the offensive line. I think a big part of that was the right tackle, Jack Conklin. They're losing him for agency to the Browns. And I think it's going to be smart of them to replace him. And the best option to do that so far in the draft right here is Austin Jackson, the tackle from Southern California. He's a bit of a project, but right tackle, I think at right tackle it's a little more manageable, and I think it is a big need for them that they need if they're going to sustain the success that they had last year.
Yeah. The Packers are on the clock at 30. I think the Packers, they have Devontae Adams. They don't have much else at the position. So I'm going to take a guy. He's not a traditional receiver. I think he's a guy who line him up all over the field. Use him on the sweeps, obviously, as you saw in the Super Bowl. The Niners did with Deebo Samuel. But Chenault.
Yeah, I like Chenault a lot. He actually kind of reminded me of Sammy Watkins in college. A little bit of injury history, but
big, strong guy. He's got speed. I know he didn't run too well at the combine, but his game speed.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Hard to tackle too. If you're into yards after catch, he's your guy.
For sure. So we have the 49ers up with their second pick in the first round at 31. They already picked Derrick Brown at 13. So they have a pretty talented roster. I think they're going to try and add on to that. And I know that we've always really seen Shanahan run a running back by committee offense, and their running backs were in an interesting situation last year. How you never really knew who was going to be the lead back any given game, and I think they're going to add talent to that position group. So I'm going to have them picking DeAndre Swift here at 31.
My favorite running back in the draft.
So we got last pick in the first round is the Chiefs on the clock, the reigning Super Bowl champs.
I think obviously the Chiefs do have a great roster. They could use help at cornerback and on interior offensive line, but I don't see any more value there at this point in the draft. So I'm going to give him an edge rusher. Yetur Gross-Matos. Reminds me a lot of JPP. As a matter of fact, he's kind of raw coming out.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a couple moves, but his technique definitely needs to be refined. But freakish athlete, strong guy.
Not a lot of production, but I think that's a good value there at 32.
Absolutely.
So that concludes our first round. Any picks stand out to you? Anything you like? What do you? Anything surprising? What do you say?
I'm having trouble seeing the big board actually. You have it. Oh, you have them right here. Okay. Definitely, like I said, the last 2 offensive tackles taken definitely surprised me. I think that's definitely a reach for the Seahawks taking Prince Tagovailoa, but Like I said, they do need help at the position. They've needed it for a long time. I can see. Even I'd like Austin Jackson there. Either way, I think they do definitely need somehow need to get off the tackle. Unfortunately, the way the board fell,
Yeah.
Come here.
We did have a run of those 4 offensive tackles earlier. That was interesting.
4 straight in the top 10.
Yeah, with
Use
Browns, I think. What's that?
Everyone could use a starting offensive tackle.
Yeah.
It's a lot. There's not a lot of franchise tackles out there.
With the Browns adding Conklin and free agency, and then Jedrick Wills with the 10th pick in the draft, I really think that could start to fortify a very good offensive line, which is something
a little redundant with right tackles, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think Wills and the pros could move over to the left tackle. I think he had that talent, but with a lefty quarterback with Tagovailoa, I think they wanted a good pass blocker on the right side.
Right. I think the projection for me is more about the Browns taking an offensive tackle rather than who it is.
Mm.
They'd be happy with any of one of those top 4 that fell to them.
One guy I thought would have found his way into the first would have been T. Higgins. Just never really ended up being a spot for him. I guess
he's a guy I like for the Giants a lot. Big, tall receiver. I think the Giants have been lacking that for a while, but obviously they're not going to take him at number 4. Maybe if we see a trade back, they get a late first rounder.
Right. Yeah.
I do like a lot. I do think he is a first round talent.
He's a guy could kind of see the Seahawks going after. I mean, they already have DK Metcalf as a big, strong wide receiver, but him, T. Higgins, and Tyler Lockett, I think, would create a very strong wide receiver core.
Absolutely. 2 guys that can go up and get it like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to leave one of them one-on-one.
The Ravens need a wide receiver for sure. Packers. So I think there's definitely a chance he gets drafted in the back half of the first round.
How many receivers did we have over here? 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it could be. I mean, it could be anywhere from 5 to 8.
Yeah.
Denzel Mims is another guy I like. Not a favorite as a receiver, but I just think there's too much talent in receiver for these guys.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely probably the most stacked position in this draft, especially with early talent. First 2 rounds of wide receivers, I think, there's a lot of depth there. And I also kind of think the difference between maybe the first best receiver and the 6th best receiver, like Jerry Judy to T. Higgins or CeeDee Lamb to Justin Jefferson, depends on how you rank them. I don't think there's like a large disparity there.
It's really team preference.
Yeah.
It depends how you use them in your system.
Right. Yeah, they do different things better than each other, and I really don't think there's a huge gap between them.
Absolutely. Yeah, Judy's more of a route runner. Ruggs is a speedster. CeeDee Lamb, you just throw it up to him.
Yeah.
Catches reliable.
Yeah, very very strong hands. Wins at the point of the attack.
Point of attack.
Yeah. Justin Jefferson has a great feel for the game of football and surprised by the speed, good size. Maybe his stats were inflated a little bit, but in that Joe Brady offense last year with Joe Burrow running quarterback, it seemed like everyone was playing super well, but not gonna blame him for that.
What did you say you cut out?
I'm not gonna blame him at all for having that incredible production that he had.
I mean, these are historic numbers.
Yeah. How many touchdowns do you have? 16, something like that.
18, I think. Something like that.
All right. Well, that concludes our first little podcast here. I want to thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll be getting new content to you guys shortly.
Absolutely. Deuces.